Good morning. It's your boy, Wake Up Legendary. What's going on, guys? This is Dave Sharp, and I have got a special friend and guest on Expert Spotlight today with a gentleman, a true gentleman, and somebody who has been a massive asset to our community here at Legendary Marketer. Without further ado, let me go ahead and bring this guy in. Andre Miller, what's going on, my man?
What's up? What's up? How you doing? Good morning, Dave.
Oh man, dude, we are about to get crazy. Oh wait, I meant to go with the I went to go with this one,
You know,
but instead I went with that one. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Just another day, enjoying life. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
nice outside.
yeah, you're
So
up
probably
north.
later I'll take a 30 minutes to go work on my tan,
Oh, bro, I
trying
know.
to.
You're getting a little pale.
Yep.
Look at me, man. Look at me. I'm like the whitest. I'm like Casper, you know. So, dude, let's jump in. So, I had you and your lovely wife on a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. Your wife is, man, she's a real firecracker, man.
She's a fireman.
Hard to keep up with her, isn't it?
Yeah, and over the time of being online, she has grown.
Yeah.
So she has developed, huge confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
Huge. For those of you who are new to the legendary world, I have history with Brittany and Andre going back a couple of years now, and they both have. They've grown incredibly. They've grown in ways that most people just don't and won't. So congrats on that, and you guys got a lovely, beautiful baby boy, and your family's on the come up, and it's a beautiful thing to watch, man. So we're going to talk about like you today specifically, and what how you can help. We're going to. I want you to imagine as if you're talking to people who are, coming into our community for the very first time, because many of you guys, I think there's multiple decisions that are being made that one does make, Andre. And the first one is to obviously, shell out the couple of dollars and say, I'm going to go through this challenge. I think the next one, it's almost a decision every day until you fully buy in to say, this is my life now, and then all of a sudden you look back like I do on a regular basis and I say, golly, I mean, these are my new kind of words because I've got a toddler in the house, so I say golly and I say gee williker. So anyways, just bear with me here, folks. But then many years you get down the road, Andre, and you look back like I do on a regular basis and say, man, I feel like I've been disconnected from the real world, how other people, for example, we're going through this pandemic. Who knows if you guys catch this replay later, it hopefully is not still going on, but there's a lot of people in the economy struggling more than they normally are. And it's kind of like we've continued business as usual because we're somewhat disconnected from that. And as long as we don't keep the news on 24/7, we can be somewhat disconnected from what's going on in the real world. So take us back a little bit to that decision for you personally when you said, enough is enough, and I'm going to take a daring, courageous step towards trying to build the life that I know that I deserve.
Yeah, so I'll put myself 3 years ago because I've been doing this 3 years. And when I started off like most people, probably in a place where they have no hope and they're tired of their current situation. So they have to do something about it. So I was there, and I'm sure you were there too. We were all there.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years ago when I started, it was me making a decision of changing my lifestyle and how it's been going. Because some of you probably know by now, and for those of you who don't know, I'm originally from Jamaica,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah, man. So I moved from Jamaica, in 2016, decided to come here and, start a life with my wife, of course, Brittany, and, have a baby and all that stuff. And I was going through a struggle. To be honest, I didn't show it out there in the world, but I at one point was thinking, did I make the right decision? Did I just leave and come here? Because you're chasing the American dream, but when you
Mm,
get here, it's like a nightmare.
mm,
And I said, okay, enough is enough. I need to find something to do. So I couldn't work going through immigration. It was tough. And most of you who've traveled from another country to the next, immigration is a pain. You have to spend almost $8,000, $9,000 just to, be able to get your paperwork and everything.
wow.
So it's a lot of money. So it literally wiped out everything that I had saved that I planned on backup plan just in case something don't work out. So I went online, started searching, just like everybody else, find a way. Went on YouTube, went on Google, and once you start searching, you see a ton of ads start hitting you left, right. So you're confused.
Mm,
You don't know which one to sign up with because everybody's telling you, well, come on over here. I got the latest and greatest. Well, I got this, I got Bitcoin over here. I got all sort of things that's coming at you. And I went on Facebook and, a friend of mine at the time, Kai posted, anybody want to learn how to make money? And I just hit him up. I said, hey, send me some information. And then he sent me the link. I clicked on it and it was you. I watched your video and I said, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. I didn't know anything about you, nothing whatsoever. And I decided to just sign up. And then, as a husband, you go to the wife, well, I just signed up for this thing and, we're going to be okay. She's like, no, you're an idiot. What are you doing? That's the most dumbest thing you could ever do. Go get a real job. This will never work out. Back and forth, back and forth. And I said, just, give me a chance. Let me try this out. I want to see how it goes, how far it's gonna take us. And that's when I started. And at the time, my business plan advisor, you get that call, you're all nervous because you don't know what you're doing.
yeah.
So the first thing, okay, you start to speculate, you start to assume things, you get nervous, and it's okay. It's normal for every human being to talk to somebody on the phone about internet business when in reality you said, well, I don't even know if I need technical skills. I didn't even know what a lead was. At
Mm,
first I thought a lead was, you go fishing, you get a lead and you throw it out. So I had no clue, brand new, nothing. And that's when I said, at the time when, to make a decision because we're not hiding anything here in Legionary Marketer. We're very transparent. Yes, we got products. And if you want to improve on your education, hey, jump on in.
mm,
And if it's not a right fit for you, we totally understand because this is not for everybody. And I was at a place where I realized that I need skills. So I said, okay, I'm going to take this leap of faith. Didn't have the money. Called my mom in Jamaica and said,
mm.
I want you to sell all my music equipment. And she sold everything
Man,
and she Western Union me the money, man. And I took it and I just sent it in. And I just did it.
great.
I just did.
Oh God, the story just gets like every time I hear you talk and share more of your story, you're so transparent about it, and it just gets better, man. It's like it's like you're God. There's so much to your story, and quite frankly, there's a lot to your story too. Listener, viewer, John, Salad, whatever your name is, right? We got so many people who watch this show, but I want you to feel as if I'm speaking to you right now because I am. There's somebody who's watching this right now who's just going to take this information and run. They're going to take even this interview today and it's going to hit home. You have a message inside of what feels like a mess right now too, and it feels clouded. And I was there as well, exactly how Andre, I didn't have to go through the extra difficulties. I had the privilege of already being here in America, and that's a great thing I don't take for granted. And it just shows that anything can be done because now and I love your story because you wanted to be so much a part of our community that we got to talking, and you said, how can I help, how can I serve more? And now all of a sudden you came on and you're one of our senior business plan advisors, been here for a long time, for a long time, in a world even of internet marketing, to where turnover rates in regular companies are high. But you talk about internet marketing, people are jumping from thing to thing to thing. And we have people here like Andre who have been here multiple years. Julie's been with us, been working with me for 5 or 6 years. I mean, so we have, people who really are here today, and they're here tomorrow, and they're here the next day, and they're here the next day. And, it's powerful. So, what would you say to somebody who is, they've already made the decision, they're likely have already at least said, hey, I'm going to take the challenge, okay? Sort of kind of like where you were at, where you signed up, but then there's the obstacle, whether it's the spouse, whether it's the self-talk. How did you persevere through that, probably self-doubt, but also the external criticism or challenges, which, I think sometimes we mistake our husband and wives' criticism for hate when it's really just fear, right? They're just afraid. But how did you persevere through that?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've done was, I connected in the Facebook group and see what others are doing. Start watching videos. And yes, just like how you said, your spouse or your other half, it's not a matter of they're stopping your dreams, is because they don't know.
Yeah.
And you as the person, you have to, bring forth in terms of like give them the answer to make them feel at ease, to make them feel relaxed. And one of the things that I did was I started telling Brittany, I said, start watching these videos so it
Mm-hmm.
all makes sense.
Sure.
So once you start watching it, then she's a little bit,
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, now I get it. But she still has it in the back of her mind saying, okay, is this for real? Which is completely normal. So
Mm-hmm.
to anybody who is in this type of situation, it will take time. And of course, just try to as much engage your other half as possible. Some will say no, some will say yes, and that's totally normal. But you got to ask yourself this question: are you happy with where you're at right now? That's the big question.
Mm.
Because if you're in a situation where you're not happy, ask them, what are the plans or we're going to be doing to get out of the situation? And if they can't tell you, that's your answer right there.
Mm.
You have to do something. Getting another job is not going to help your current situation. It's just putting a band-aid over the wound. It's going to be infected again.
Mm.
So you have to find a solution. We're not saying that, well, legendary marketers, is the life savior, kumbaya, whatever it is, but you can learn real skills to go on and do whatever business that you got to do. And that's what I like about this community is the skill sets, the information that you learn here. We're not here to tell you, well, go sign up and bring Tom in and then John bring in Mary. It's not that type of company. You can use the skills here to do other things, because I also help my wife with her business
Right.
using the skill sets that I use here.
Yeah.
And I also, just to branch off so she could grow. So I'm
Right.
helping her.
And she
So
is
they,
growing. I mean,
yeah,
that's the amazing thing, is that, it's sort of the each one teach one, and you've done that right in your family. And we do have a lot of people, and if you're watching, I'd ask you, and I want to make sure that I put a pin in the fact that what you just said about asking your spouse, do they have a plan? You did that, but I wanna ask you, who do you want to pass on a legacy to? You've already begun to do that with your wife and your family. And it's like, I think sometimes people who are initially spouses, friends, but screw our friends. Like, it's, what about the family, the people that we got to build a life with? Let's start there first. Um, they may have a hard exterior, but there's like an egg. They've got a beautiful yolk inside. That's, if you can crack the egg, you can make something out of that. And I love how you said engage. That's the word you used. Engage them. Don't clash with them. Engage them. And you asked Brittany a powerful question when you first got started, which you just gave an example of. But You really said this because I've heard you say the story. You asked her, well, what is your plan? Didn't you?
Yeah, I did. What other options do we have? Because if you have no other option, what we're doing right now is not going to get us, any further in life. It's just going to be a vicious cycle doing the same things because she used to travel 50 minutes to work and 50 minutes back from work. She was the only one working at the time. She was only making 125 every 2 weeks. So we were going through a really tough time.
Holy
And
smokes,
I
man.
had to figure something out. So I said, okay, we need to do something else. Something needs to be done. Either we're gonna wait till this immigration thing come through, which didn't happen until, October of that same year in 2017, the year when we flew down to come and see you at the event with
Wow.
our 4 month old baby boy at the time. I'm sure you remember that time because I wanted more out of life, and she realized that, and that's when we started to move together as one
Yeah.
because she now sees that it's possible. So I know there's a lot of people that is either their spouse is on the fence right now,
Mm.
you don't know what to do, but just give it time,
Yeah.
right? It all gonna come together because they're gonna realize sooner or later what you're doing, what's the mission is, where you're trying to go. And that's totally normal for them to say, well, is this the right thing? Well, I don't want you to do it. Not because they say no right now, don't mean they will say no forever. Eventually, they're going to say yes. They will say yes. And if you're a person who can prove to them that this is what you want to do, not by forcing them,
Mm.
but allowing them to make that decision, then you're good.
Yeah.
You're all set.
Yeah, I like to say what you mean what you say. Don't be mean when you say it. And I think that um, when you're already down and out, Andre, you're already feeling like the world's on top of you. It can be easy to feel defensive or insecure. It's not like when you started out, you were feeling as confident about yourself as you are now. So it took a lot of, uh, you know, it took a lot of courage. You were taking a risk. I mean, you were really putting your money where your mouth is. Did you ever think that could you envision yourself where you are now, talking to people with such an amazing story, talking to people and sharing this journey and this wisdom? Could you ever imagine that you would be here just a few years later sharing this story? And even as did you even realize that your story would be inspirational, or that could you ever even imagine where you are right now?
Never imagined because I had self-doubt, in the beginning of, growing up, and it was difficult, finding ways how to overcome those things. And this community can really mold you into the person that you've never thought you would be. And that's what I like about Legendary Marketer because I did not think that, we would be in a place right now where you probably know by now that we were on the billboard and accomplish great things, and me being here helping other people making a powerful decision
Mm-hmm.
and watching people just their life change over time is just like the greatest thing because I was there too, so I know how my life changed, and if I can impact someone else's life, it's like the greatest thing. It makes me happy. It brings me joy knowing that you're making a decision. You're doing something now that you don't know where it's going to take you
Yeah.
because there's endless opportunities on the internet. We can't go anywhere without these things these days.
Right.
The phone, the laptop, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Pretty soon in the next 20 years, who knows? We're going to be walking around with, chips and devices.
Don't say that to
We don't
some people;
know.
they'll start freaking out.
We don't know.
Yeah. It's wild. I think nowadays you have to have a business and an income source that does not require you to go and be dependent on traveling in somewhere, going to an office, shipping a product, because unless you're a huge company like Walmart, you have massive distribution channels, or like Amazon, the average person like you or me, it's we get crushed. We get crushed in that world, and we're seeing so many people. I mean, again, I don't know when you guys, if you'll catch this replay or not, but we've been going through this coronavirus pandemic, and we took an already open wound of 40% of America who doesn't even have $1,000 in their bank account. And then we just threw, I mean, this whole situation just threw salt in that wound. So it's like we have now nearly that. I don't know what the exact numbers are this week, but unemployment is, and that's just the people who have filed. So, I mean, we have a major crisis. And I think nowadays, if you're looking and listening to this story, you're watching this right now, you may not be able. And that's one of the reasons why I asked Andre, could you ever have imagined back when you were feeling like the world was on top of you, that you'd be now feeling on top of the world? Doesn't mean his life or my life's perfect, but it's damn sure different than when we started. Did you ever think that you would be able to see this? The reason why I ask him that is because if you're at the beginning of your journey, of course it's hard to visualize what it's going to be like because you've never seen it before. Like if I ask Andre, have you ever seen Antarctica? You only can
Yeah,
imagine, right? Or based on pictures or something, but you haven't seen it with your own eyes. So there's part the reason why we do these shows and these interviews is to hopefully you can see your story through somebody else. Hopefully you can see your story through somebody else and realize that you're not as different as you think you are. The self doubt that I had when I first got started, the insecurities. I mean, coming from where I came from, I don't know they were more or worse or less, or it doesn't matter because they're all our own unique feelings. But I could have never imagined being able to, have financial freedom. And last question I want to ask you, and this is one that's big for me: how does it feel to know that your son is going to have a completely different set of information about money? He's going to have a completely different opportunity because of because of the risks that you took, because of the work that you've put in, because of your continuing to persevere. How does that make you feel?
it's going to be the greatest thing because now we can leave a legacy behind, right? Before all this, I wasn't sure where our lives are going to be, right? I didn't come here to live an average life. I know I wanted more, but I didn't know how to, right? So having this, knowledge and this experience and where I'm at right now, not where I want to be for sure, but it's way better than where I was. So knowing that we can leave something, a legacy behind for him is great because we already did. We already started.
Mm-hmm.
Like earlier this year, last year, we already start putting things aside for him because now we're thinking about him. It's not about us anymore because we want him to have a much better life than what we had. Right. So having all this information, this skill set can really help you to, to be able to feel more comfortable because I'm comfortable now than I was back then. And knowing that you could do something to impact his life, because I know not everybody have or has kids, but at least there's somebody in your life that you want to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not doing this just to do this. There's got to be other people that you want to bless. It could be a relative, it could be a friend. There's got to be someone out there that you would like to be a role model. And he's seen that already because, every time he knows when I'm on the computer, which is good.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, Dada, he can't even say computer. He say computer. He's like, you go on the computer? So he already knows. The greatest thing that he never sees mommy or daddy get up in the morning to leave to go to a 9 to 5 job and then come home late at night because I know a lot of people are struggling out there.
Yeah.
So you got to realize that it's not only you, but you want to build something for your family. So what are you going to do? You have to do something. You have to make a change. But in order for you to make a change, you have to start today. Just to touch on the COVID and what's happening right now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to be a ripple effect. 2 to 3 years from now, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So if you're going to start something now, start today. Learn something new. Learn a new skill. Learn something that is going to be a recession-proof business. A skill that you can use it doesn't matter what's going on around the world,
Mm,
you're safe.
yeah.
And if you're willing to commit to do that for your family, you're good.
Yeah. So powerful, man. Just love having you around, brother. Tell the family that I said hello, and
So
just keep up the great work. Your story keeps evolving. It's amazing. You're helping so many people here in our community as well, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It's kind of like the circle of life. Your story is so powerful because you came in the same way that now the people that you are helping as a BPA. It's just it's wonderful. So I'll let you go, get back to your family and get back to work, and we'll talk to you later, buddy.
thanks for having me.
All right,
See
man.
you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh man. Oops. What a wow. What a story. So listen. If this, I'm going to give you two reasons to like this live and leave a comment down below with what you took away from this, and also share this. I'm going to give you a free course. We're going to pick a winner, give away a free course for anybody who likes or hearts or cares, right? Leave an emotion. It doesn't matter. Even if it brought you to tears, um, drops a comment and then shares this. Here's why, is because we want to spread the message and give people an alternative to waking up to the news or waking up to some of the other, unproductive things that we have to choose from every morning, but also because you spreading value is such a good way to put good business karma out into the world, which will eventually come back to you. I mean, I believe in that. So, yeah, like it, drop a comment down below, and then share this live stream on your Facebook feed or wherever we're streaming it from, and we're going to give you access to a free course inside of Legendary Marketer, something that will teach you a new skill like Andre was talking about. And then catch us back here tomorrow, all right, 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, every weekday. And remember, be legendary. Peace.